Hey, welcome back to YT Finance, and today we are talking about Senseonics SENS stock and Nano Dimension's NNDM stock. So for Senseonics stock news, we have an update about their FDA approval, which is absolutely amazing, and then we're going to move on after we talk about some SENS stock price predictions and what this FDA approval means for their stock price. We're going to talk about how Nano Dimension has recently acquired Global Inkjet Systems, which is fantastic news. We're also going to go over some Nano Dimension stock price targets, as well as why the stock is trading at a substantial discount right now, well below their fair value because of how much cash they have on their balance sheet. So after we go over some fundamentals and some even technical analysis, we're going to move on and go over the newest updates for both of these stocks. So if you want more updates and news videos like this one, remember to smash the like button right now, subscribe if you are new, comment your thoughts down below about the SENS stock and NNDM stock, and now let's get right into today's stories. So we're going to start off with some Senseonics holding stock news, and if you didn't know, this is a medical technology company that develops and manufactures long-term implantable continuous glucose monitoring systems, and these systems are for people with diabetes because it reads their blood glucose levels. One of Senseonics' newest systems, which is the Eversense 180-day CGM system, has been under FDA approval for quite a while, and this is going to act as a huge catalyst for their stock price. There's even a quote which says this: "We understand that the FDA is at full capacity managing the backlogs of COVID-19 related filings, creating longer than expected review timelines. We are confident a decision regarding approval of the 180-day system will be made in the coming weeks," which is very soon, "as the FDA continues to clear out the backlog." After the decision regarding the FDA approval is expected to come, Senseonics is going to roll out their newest marketing campaign so they can thrust out this 180-day system into the United States, which in turn is going to increase their sales. They will also follow this with many more products and innovations for their 180-day system, followed by eventually a system that's going to last an entire year. And they plan on initiating all of this in the second quarter of 2022, and I think that's when the approval from the FDA will officially come in. If you didn't already know, the full year guidance for their revenues for 2021 is expected to land between $12 million and $15 million, which is a huge increase from the prior year. We also have a quote from Tim Goodnow, who is a PhD, the president and the CEO of Senseonics, and he says this about the FDA filing, and I quote, "In 2021, we integrated operations and coordination activities with our commercial collaborator Essentia Diabetes Care. A thoughtful go-to-market strategy is being designed to target a smooth transition to the 180-day system while providing uninterrupted service for patients, providers, and payers. We are excited to advance long-term solutions for people with diabetes as we continue to aim to make the new 180-day system available in the United States." End quote. Senseonics already has their very popular 90-day CGM system, and beyond this technology, they want to improve it to last an entire year, but again, that's going to have to go through FDA approval. Now let's talk about if you should buy or sell the Senseonics stock based upon this huge catalyst. So right now, the stock has risen about 15% in the pre-market trading hours to around $3.08, but I expect this will pull back a little bit. The stock's short-term technical score is 43, which means that it has traded less positively over the last month than 57% of stocks. But however, with this FDA catalyst coming up soon, we can anticipate more volatility in the stock and potentially a surge upwards. A surge by almost 79%. Overall, the SENS stock has a ranking of 55%, so anything above 50% is a decent stock, and considering that this is a great catalyst play to either get in and get out, or if you are already in, this is going to provide you a great opportunity to take profits, I would say that Senseonics stock looks very appealing right now. More good news is that analysts expect the stock to increase by around 79% despite the stock and company being unprofitable overall. So if you don't know how their technology works, basically they implant a sensor under the skin, which then communicates with a smart transmitter that's worn over the sensor, and this reads someone's glucose levels every 5 minutes, and it sends the data to a mobile app on somebody's smartphone. The catalyst before this for the SENS stock price was that their revenues came in better better than expected, beating analysts' revenue predictions because they delivered around $3.5 million for that particular quarter. And of this revenue, about $0.6 million was generated in the United States, but internationally, that gave them the bulk of their revenue for $2.9 million. However, if the FDA approval comes through for the 180-day glucose monitoring system, we can anticipate that their United States revenue will drastically increase. Moving down in the article, we can also see that their revenue growth rate for 2022 is projected to increase by 126% year over year. So the company could be bringing in well over $30 million of revenue, doubling the revenue or projected revenue that they're going to bring in for 2021 in total. So 2022 is going to be a great year for the revenue. However, like I said earlier, this company is unprofitable, which just adds more risk. Despite this fact, Wall Street analysts are still very bullish on the SENS stock, and they give it a moderate buy rating, and the average price target for the stock is $5, which would put it at a great increase from where the stock currently trades at. So out of the price targets, we have the high-end price target of $6, the average price target of $5, depending on what analysts you research or look at. Sometimes it's $3.5 or $3.50, I should say, and the low-end price prediction can range all the way from $4 to as low as 80 cents. Currently, 2 analysts say to buy this stock and 1 analyst says to hold. So overall, the stock looks pretty good, especially if you want to trade it off of this catalyst. Now, there is no guarantee that this stock will run according to this catalyst, but it's always good to be ready, because stocks can either have a pre-anticipatory run up to a catalyst, they can unlock their growth potential after a catalyst, or during or when the catalyst is announced. So you have 3 different sections here of when the stock could pop. Now, naturally, if the stock ends up popping upwards, it's best to sell at the top because a pullback will almost always follow. So overall, this is fantastic news for Senseonics and the SENS stock as a whole. Now I want to talk about some Nano Dimension stock news, which is very exciting because they have recently gone through another acquisition of a very prestigious 3D printing company. Currently, the NNDM stock price has popped around 2 to 3%, but we'll see how long Nano Dimension can actually hold on to those gains. The ticker symbol for Nano Dimension is NNDM, and if you didn't already know, Nano Dimension is an industry-leading 3D printer of additive manufactured electronics, and they're also a leader in micro-additive manufacturing. And this newest acquisition of Global Inkjet Systems, also known as GIS, is going to be fantastic for the revenues because it's going to expose them to even more customers. Now, GIS is based in Cambridge in the United Kingdom, and it's a leading developer of supplier and high-performance control electronics, including softwares as well as hardware. And this diversifies Nano Dimension very nicely because Nano Dimension already has very good software and hardware, but now they get to expand their portfolio to even more customers in the UK. Currently, GIS has around 130 customers worldwide, and they also have a proprietary software system named Atlas. GIS also has a good amount of revenues that they offer, which is going to make Nano Dimension even a more appealing buy. So yearly or annually, GIS brings in around $10 million, and their gross profit margin is very impressive at around 51%. Nano Dimension is going to make back the money that they spent on GIS almost in the first year because Nano Dimension only paid around $18.1 million worth of cash, and with the company generating around $10 million worth of revenue, in 2 years the revenues are going to make up for any cash that they lost. The CEO and chairman of Nano Dimension about their acquisition of GIS, and he says this, and I quote, "GIS's ink delivery technology and software are essential to any ink deposition methodology within our AME and AM solutions. GIS's research and development roadmap will help us to deliver better resolution and higher productivity in our industrial 3D printing solutions." He goes on to say, "As a result of this acquisition, we will be able to improve our technology's performance and time to market. The combined company will own and have access to innovative and yet to be released printing technologies," so that's very bullish right there, yet to be released technologies, that's fantastic news, "providing value and leading edge solutions tailored to our customers' needs and giving us a clear competitive advantage." And Nano Dimension already has a clear competitive advantage in micro additive manufacturing and various AI solutions because of their previous acquisitions. The combination between GIS and Nano Dimension is going to help Nano Dimension grow their customers, penetrate more markets, and increase their overall revenues, which is going to put them on a great trajectory for profitability. The founder and CEO of GIS says that "We are very excited to be joining a company that recognizes the excellence of our technologies, our passion for innovation, and matches our customer-focused culture. He goes on to say, working together, we will be pushing the envelope beyond existing printing capabilities in ways our customers will gain advantages that are unmatched yet. The CEO of Nano Dimension adds that this is a win-win for both companies, and by them combining forces and resources, it will enable them to grow and integrate into a better overall company. He also mentions that this merger will upgrade Nano Dimension's product line with GIS's innovative hardware and software. In parallel, our go-to-market network will expand GIS's commercial horizon and customer base. The combination of both companies will further leverage the customer-focused culture across the entire organization. So this is great news for Nano Dimension's future growth, but I want to talk about Nano Dimension's stock price right now because I believe it is extremely undervalued. I've been reporting on this company for a while, and I also called out this company when it was a penny stock before it surged all the way up to $17 per share. And this is what I'm looking at when I make certain statements like this, and how I know that certain companies could be very profitable. Now, despite this is a very speculative play, but even if we look at their revenues, we can see a great growth trajectory, thus seen by the positive slope in this chart graph of their revenues. And despite the losses that Nano Dimension has experienced in their stock price, including their revenue dropping by around 52% back in 2020, analysts anticipate very strong growth from Nano Dimension, specifically for their revenues in 2022, where the revenues could increase around 250%. By the time 2025 comes around, the CAGR of their revenues could be 123%, which is absolutely phenomenal. Nano Dimension has a current market cap of around $970 million, which is below their $1.4 billion worth of cash or cash equivalents that they have on hand right now. And this makes Nano Dimension a very deep value play because according to the open market, the company is literally worth less than the amount of cash or cash equivalents that they have on hand right now, which makes absolutely no sense. They also have very little debt, which numbers about $3.5 million. But again, we need to remember that this is going to be a very speculative play because not everything has lined up for Nano Dimension yet. If management really felt like rewarding their shareholders, they could literally buy 50% of the stock's float and still have about a third of their cash left on their balance sheet, and this would in turn cause the stock price to skyrocket because it would excite investors, especially after Nano Dimension heavily diluted shareholder values by having many stock offerings. With that being said, at the very least, the market cap should be at least in the range of the amount of cash and cash equivalents that they have on hand right now. So the stock price should at least be trading around $5.50, and if you own this stock below $5.50, you are already in an excellent position. When investors inevitably realize that this is a fantastic value play, I anticipate that the stock price could surge by up to 40% back up to what it should be trading at. I also want to add that Kathy Wood of ARK Invest has also bought and sold Nano Dimension multiple times, and she has always held some Nano Dimension stock in some of her ETFs. She has never totally sold all of her Nano Dimension, and she has repeatedly bought Nano Dimension and other 3D printing stocks like Velo 3D and Marked Forge, which are other great choices. So with Nano Dimension being a fantastic value play, Senseonics trading around 80% or 79% below their actual value right now, especially if this catalyst decides to inflate the stock price, I would say Senseonics and Nano Dimension are very good speculative plays, at least for now. You have Senseonics, which is going to be a good growth play to play off the catalyst, and you have Nano Dimension, which is a good value play. However, the risks associated with these stocks are very high, so remember to always do your own research. I hope you liked today's video. If you did, remember to smash the like button right now, comment your thoughts down below about Senseonics stock and Nano Dimension stock, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next YT video.